Welcome back to season 2 of Airax Creator Now. It's good to be back and see so many, familiar faces from season 1. Big congrats to Tyler and Michael. I think you guys did a great job winning MVP and MIP. Very well deserved. I think you guys rocked it. Let's see, what else? So lots of fun stuff went down in the first season. One of the highlights, which being the collab I did with Manuel and Tyler. It's also cool to be a team lead this time around. The title is really just a formality at this point. There's nothing special about me as a creator, other than the fact that I just passed 100 subscribers. Also, as promised, shout out to Caden Houston for being my 100th subscriber. I'll link to his channel down below. He does a lot of cool lifestyle challenge vlogs. And he's also part of the Creator Now community. One thing I will say though about being a team lead and just having titles in general is they can be great because they can help you rise to the occasion, which is something I'm looking forward to doing this season. Also want to give a big shout out to Team 12 and coming up with our name, the Content Cartel. We had a lot of fun with the ideas. I had a soft spot for Dirty Dozen, or the 12 Apostles was also really good, but Content Cartel I think fits with the whole Airax Mafia theme. So last season I managed to get back into the rhythm of posting once a week, and getting back into being consistent was really helpful, especially after taking a few months off while I was moving into my new place. But this season I really want to focus on being a lot more consistent and more focused, and making videos in a way that's a lot more sustainable and feels a lot more like it's part of my routine rather than something that's just sort of tacked on. I want to plan things out a little bit more, use the Notion templates, actually come up with more scripts and stick to schedules more, because ultimately I think that's going to determine whether or not I can keep doing this into the future and continue growing as a creator. Because really what this is all about is doing this in a way that's sustainable for the long run. And as a team lead, I also feel this added sense of, responsibility to deliver value to my team and the broader community. Which begs the question, what exactly does that mean, providing value? And specifically, I've been thinking about it in the context of what makes a piece of content itself valuable. I think it's a question that ultimately all creators need to ask themselves from time to time, because at the end of the day, your viewers are trying to get something out of watching your videos, and you need to be able to deliver that. Broadly speaking, I'd say there's probably about 3 different types of value that a piece of content can provide to a viewer. The first is just entertainment value, which seems like it's the most obvious, but I would categorize most things that are basically those quick dopamine hits, things that are enjoyable, they're easily digestible, you just get it. Usually these types of videos are funny or fun, lighthearted, they might just kind of pique someone's curiosity. I would say these are the kinds of videos that tend to go viral, tend to have a punchline, and I would say most of the content on the internet that is popular or just gets put out there in general is providing some kind of entertainment value. And there's nothing wrong with making quick fix, entertaining kind of content, but it's also the easiest to make, which is also kind of why there's the most of it. Contrast that to the second kind of value, which is typically educational value. Educational content is more of a means to an end rather than a quick fix in and of itself. It's a little harder to produce because it takes a little more time to prepare and script out and plan. Typically this kind of content's a little bit harder to digest because it is more complex and it is a means to an end. So you're trying to learn a new skill and learn something new, which means that you're going to be using a little more brain power for it. And the flip side of it is that can also not be very entertaining. So that's why a lot of times we skip lectures or don't pay attention in school, because it's not hitting that same dopamine fix. But the best kind of content can actually balance the two. It can be entertaining and educational. This kind of content is also really good for developing new skills, or it has some kind of practical application beyond that piece of content itself. And educational content is one of the biggest reasons why I love YouTube, because it's this free platform for learning new things and actually delivering this value that compounds over time. Because the more you learn, the more you can build upon that knowledge, and it just snowballs. And then the last kind of content that I think is probably the hardest to make is content that is awe-inspiring. There's a really good quote from Albert Einstein that basically says, someone who can't stand wrapped in awe is basically as good as dead. And I really like that quote because it just kind of goes to show how deeply human of an experience awe is. Awe is essentially that feeling that we get when we look at an amazing piece of art and we just stand there and we're just fully consumed in the moment and appreciating this experience for the aesthetics, for just the artistic value in and of itself. And again, that's, I think, some of the hardest kind of content to create, but there are a lot of really great creators that do it really well. And I think the best creators are able to combine all three of these different types of value into one. And that's really how I think about my content and growing as a creator. So, having said all that, I got lots of ideas for season 2 of Creator Now, but something that really hit home during season 1 is that it all comes down to execution, ultimately. There's still a couple videos that I'm wrapping up from season 1, like the influencer video I shot with Tyler and Manuel. I also want to do a video review of my experience during season 1, which was obviously very positive, but I want to break down some of the things that I really like, and also some of the things that I think the program could continue to improve on and do better in future cohorts. And then there's also a ton of other crazy ideas that I haven't really shared yet, but I'm really excited to get into and actually plan them out because they're more ambitious than anything I've shot before. But that's also what makes them so fun and rewarding. So I want to thank Team 12 and the Content Cartel, everyone at Creator Now, and the whole Airac team for this opportunity to be a team lead. And I'm really looking forward to working with everyone and growing as a creator during season 2. That's it. I'm leaving.